Notes 5A. Solving equations. Objective. I can solve for a variable using operations and inverse operations. Focus TEKS. 5A. Other TEKS. 5B, 10A. Essential question. How could I solve one-step equations? How could I solve multi-step equations? Vocabulary. Term. A number or variable in an equation. Like terms. Terms that contain the same variables raised to the same power. Coefficient. Quantity of a variable. Expression. A phrase that may contain variables, constants, or operations. Equation. A statement where two expressions are equal. Isolate. Get x by itself. Distribute. Multiply each term. Additive inverse. Add or subtract something to get 0. Multiplicative inverse. Multiply or divide something to get 1. Relation. Two or more expressions that are linked together by signs such as less than equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than. Literal equation. An equation with two or more kinds of variables. Systems. More than one relation. Substitution. Plugging in an expression for a specified variable. Elimination. Getting rid of one variable and solving for the other. Intersection. The coordinate point where two or more lines meet. Matrices. A grid of elements in rows by columns. One-step equation, additive inverse. Add and subtract. Something plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 9 is 10. We can get that by subtracting 9 on each side of the equation, on each expression. Something plus 7 equals 10. 3 plus 7 equals 10. We can find that by subtracting 7 on each expression. B minus 2 equals 8. To get the answer, you add 2 to each expression. B equals 10. Something minus 3 equals 11. Add 3 to both sides of the equation. We have 14 is what goes in the blank. So for these, we add the constant to isolate the variable x. One-step equation, multiplicative inverse. Flip and multiply. 1/2 x equals -4. To get the x value, we're going to flip and multiply. So instead of 1/2, it becomes 2/1. Each term. -4 divided by 1 is -4. -4 times 2 is -8. X equals -8. 3/5 times y equals 15. Flip and multiply. Instead of 3/5, it's 5/3. Multiply each term by this flipped fraction, by this reciprocal. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Y equals 25. X divided by 2 equals -10. To get x by itself, to isolate it, we multiply each term by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 1x equals -10 times 2 is -20. X equals -20. X divided by 4 equals 22. Multiply each term by 4 to isolate the x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we have 1x equals 22 times 4 is 88. X equals 88. So to solve for the variable of these, we multiply each term by the denominator to isolate the variable. Combining like terms, u squared plus 4u minus 1 plus 2u. What we want to do is combine the terms that are the same. We have a u to the second power, that's u. This one does not have a u squared, this one doesn't have a u squared, and this one does not have a u squared. So it has no like terms, so it's already simplified. And let's do another one. Let's add the u's. So we have a plus 4u. This doesn't have a u, and this has a u, plus 2u. So 4u plus 2u is equal to 6u. And then our constant, what's left over, we have a minus 1. So that's our simplified expression. Negative parentheses 2w minus 11. So we're distributing the negative 1, multiply each term by negative 1. Negative 1 times 2w is negative 2w. Negative 1 times negative 11 is a plus 11. And that's your simplified expression. 2 minus 3 parentheses x plus 4. Distribute first, multiply each term by negative 3. We're just going to carry down this 2 for right now. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 4 is a negative 12. From here, we could combine like terms. We could combine the two constants. So our simplified expression is negative 3x minus 10. Notice on each of these problems where we're simplifying, we do not solve. There's no specific number answer. An expression can have multiple terms in it, with or without variables. Solving equations with variables on both sides. So our first step, we want to distribute, multiply each term. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. We do the same thing on the other side. We're going to distribute that 3 into the parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is plus 12. And then we have minus 7. The next step is that we want to combine like terms. We have an x term and we have a constant term on this side. It's done. But on the other side, we have two constants that haven't been combined together. So 12 minus 7 is 5. Break down everything else. Let's go ahead and subtract 2x from each expression to get the x's all on one side. So then we have negative 10 equals 1x plus 5. To get x by itself, to isolate it, we're going to subtract 5 from each side of the equation. So we have negative 15 equals x, and there's nothing you have to divide because the coefficient of x is 1. The shortcut in the calculator, to use NSOLVE, you press Calculate menu 3-1, type in your equation, comma x, then enter. Work on doing these by hand first though.